Hi, I'm Becca, the Content Director for Money 2020 Asia. And I'm backstage right now with Matthew Chen, who's just finished his main stage chat at Money 2020 Asia. How are you doing, Matthew?
I'm good, Rebecca. Thanks for inviting me here. Hi, everyone. My name is Matthew Chen. I'm the CEO of Sunline International Group, and I'm very glad to be here in Money 2020. Hopefully, this is a very fruitful event for everyone, and hopefully, my staying on the stage just now is not too devastating for a lot of people. Anyway, thanks for inviting me here. Thank you.
And the first question for you is around the platform ecology model. So we've talked a lot about that already, and you've got a model which links together 3 different parts to that platform ecology.
Yes.
The trifecta.
Yes.
So tell us a bit more about that.
This trifecta ecology, I call it. So a lot of people talking about building a super app, right? Especially for the banks trying to attract the underbanked people, right? So they're trying to do a lot of things with the app, digitize the channel, trying to push their product and service into the so-called unbanked people. But the result actually, is quite disappointing. You spend a lot of marketing dollars. I mean, a good way I like to put it is if anyone look at their smartphone, right? For any time, just look at the top 10 apps by screen time, maybe, or even by data usage, right? Or by battery usage. You'll find that your own mobile banking app is probably right here, like a little tiny dot. So doesn't matter how much money you actually spend on your mobile, so-called super mobile app, the chances are it's very hard to reach the end users or the potential customer they're trying to attract.
So the B2C model is broken?
Yeah, the so-called B2C, it's proven to be a myth. At least it's very difficult. So we actually sort of said that, how about we put a B in the middle and to close the gap to be a bridge between the B and C. So that's why we call it a B2B2C model. So that's our trifecta platform.
And this is super important in China, obviously. We've got a couple of those platforms that have super scaled, hyper scaled.
Yeah.
And you're particularly close to Tencent. Tell us a bit more about your relationship with Tencent.
Yeah, I mean, the obviously being a huge, homogeneous country, right? So the largest ecosystem in China, everyone knows, is WeChat, right? Which has 1 billion active users in China alone, and everyone trying to tap into them, right? So for the larger banks, maybe they're able to so-called create their own ecosystem, but for a lot of little guys, a lot of smaller banks, they don't have the money, don't have the manpower, don't have the system. It takes a lot of time. So they want a short wing. They want a same playing field against the bigger ones. So we create this platform really utilizing WeChat's mini program. So it's actually not an app. It's a building mini program that we build our platform within. So that then bring these little guys and into the 1 billion ecosystem of WeChat. So that's what we built. So we launched the platform in August last year, and so far 86 banks, all the little banks, already signed up. So they already start publishing their product and services, hopefully into the fingertips of these 1 billion users.
Amazing. Yeah. And why have Tencent invested in you?
Because of this.
It enables them to scale, I guess.
I don't know whether you heard of WeBank. So within the Tencent portfolio, obviously there's the first full digital banks called WeBank. But so far, WeBank only have a few products. They attract, because of regulation, they attract, on the deposit side, they can't attract deposits, so they have to borrow interbank. So they're actually writing up the funding cost. So actually restrict their ability to design products. For example, they don't have their own wealth management products. So WeBank, although it's growing very fast, but still growing organically, right? So how about creating 100 WeBanks overnight? So that's really what this platform is trying to do, right? So we create this platform, hopefully enable and cultivate these little guys and collaborate together. Together they're like a big warm-up, right? So they can fight against the bigger banks and they collaborate because they're all different product and service. They can bend backwards to serve the little guys, the underbanked people. So this together, it can be 100 WeBanks, right? So the plug and play is very easy. So a couple of weeks they can launch this so-called digital challenge bank within 2 weeks rather than 12 months.
100 WeBanks overnight. That is definitely the line to take away from this. I just want to ask one more question. We had a call last week where we were talking about virtual banks. Just thought of it when you were talking about WeBank there. And the idea of building a virtual bank within a gaming world. Within e-games. Tell us a little bit more about that and how that would look.
So I'm talking about 3 phases these 3 phases doesn't need to be in sequential order. It can happen concurrently. So phase 1, obviously all of these banks, they can publicize their product and service, smart saving, wealth management, microloans, and all that. This is actually nothing new under the sun. What's more interesting is what I call phase 2 and phase 3. So, for example, there are a lot of goodies that WeBank has done. For example, they obviously use the biggest social media data. They have employed a lot of expensive data scientists to AI, big data, to enable them to do social behavior modeling, right? So the pre-loan, anti-money laundering, anti-fraud kind of things, which is modularized as a service which they would like to publish in the platform, but it's very difficult for them to, plug into, say, Bank of China's core banking system, right? It's a huge, complex project, and this ability, none of these little guys will have. So how about helping them, right? So it's complement, actually, not just competing against WeBank. It's actually complement. So plug into our, so-called digital core banking system and enable these little guys have the same fighting chance against the big ones, right? So this is still software as a service. But phase 3, maybe we can talk about some of the non-financial factors, like the gaming world, for example. So we had a look of, for example, Tencent group portfolio is ranging for lack of better English word, actually, I don't know how to call it. I call it equity. So I actually call these things equity swap. So for example, every single bank, you have that loyalty point system, right? So, you accumulate 10,000 points to swap a boring umbrella on the internet. So not interested to the young upcoming millennials, but, I don't know whether you heard of this very, very popular online game that all of these young kids are playing. They're addicted to. It's called King's Glory.
Yes.
Yes, #1, right? So if you say that you open up this particular bank account, instead of, you can actually swap these points with a special weapon, can enable them to kill that monster and upgrade them to the next level, then all of a sudden it becomes so interesting to the young upcoming millennial, right? So it's non-financial, but because you can still assign a monetary value to it, right? So you can swap. So I call it equity swap. And imagine this platform can potentially be an incubator for a lot of little fintech companies. Every day, Shenzhen being the Silicon Valley of China, there's this bunch of hot-blooded young graduates who have an idea, come out, they get some angel funding, the money might run out, and most of them will die within a year. And I think not only they need money, they also need nutrition. And hopefully this platform, because all they have is just one good idea. They provide one little scenario that, a person's touch point, and there's a thing element to support that. So you're actually but you're actually helping them to tap into a lot of ecosystem, which provides nutrition for this, for this upcoming fintech company to survive, maybe for a longer term. So it's actually, you can see this potentially, I call it phase 2 as an incubator for a lot of fintech companies, not just for the banks.
When are we going to see phase 3?
Hopefully, I'm actually gonna fast track that outside of China, because this part of the world, I actually found that there are a lot of, other than Gojek and Grab, they're bigger, right? But there's a lot of smaller pockets. There's a lot of smaller ecosystem. Take Malaysia, for example. There's 3 different races, 3 different regions, and different culture and all that. So there are a lot of smaller ecosystem, not so big as as WeChat, right? And probably with some technology support, we can actually glue them together and helping the little banks, little fintech company to tap into that. I'll give you an example, like Malaysia issued the first 6 P2P licenses a couple of years ago, right? They're about to issue the second wave. We actually did a system for these 2 of the 6. And then they came in ideal. I mean, they're still doing P2P, right? So the investment loans, so still fin side. And then how about we lump a few of them and tap into some of the little ecosystem. So it's all about helping the little people, right? The little, there's trifecta, right? So there's the fin side, people actually providing the financial product and services, albeit very small ones. So they, a bit disadvantaged one. And on the other side, the underbanked or unbanked people, but they are really naturally living their own ecosystem, right? Maybe in different pockets of the ecosystem, depending on different scenarios, right? 360 touch points during the day. And then we build a platform to connect them.